The National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence was established in 1972 and has provided voluntary technician certification tests, known as ASE tests, for almost 50 years. I took my first ASE test in 1983. I took my most recent test in 2022. I've taken ASE A1 through A8, L1, and G1, and I've never failed a test in right about 40 years. But the reason I haven't is because I prepare for the test. So the purpose of this video is to just give you an idea of what I've done to prepare and how you can do the same thing. I've worked with a lot of technicians that feel because they're good, competent technicians, they should be able to pass the ASE test without any prep. And actually, I think in most cases that's not correct. The skill set that you have to do what you do every day to service and repair vehicles is different than the skill set you need to go in and pass an ASE test. It's not that hard to do, but again, you have to prepare to do it. For me, the best way to prepare for an ASE test has been to use a review book. And for quite a few years, I've used the book by Delmar Cengage. I'll put the information in the description. This one is a 4th edition, so this one came out in 2013. It's getting a little old. There's now a 5th edition, but this book, as it says, covers tests A1 through A8 and L1. And I find, for me, it has worked great. This review book, along with the many other review books that are available, consists of a series of test questions for each test. And of course, they're not the same questions as actually on the test. They can't do that. But the test questions are similar enough that what I find it does, it gets your mind set and working in a way that you're thinking the way you have to think to take that test and to pass it. Also, what I've always done is I've made myself a test answer sheet. So in this case, for this particular test, there were, looks like 100 question tests. Some of the tests have pre-tests, and they all have post-tests for the Delmar book. And so then as I'm going through the book, or for that section, I answer the questions on my answer sheet. And then when I go back and check the answers, because the answers are at the end of that section, then I will use that to help understand why I didn't get that question right. Here's a good example of how a review book like this will work. This is a section for L1, which would be Advanced Engine Performance. So if we look at one of the questions, for example, here's question 122. An OBD1 vehicle with a single-point fuel injection 4-cylinder engine fails an emission test for high CO and HC. Scan tool data indicates the heated O2 sensor voltage is 0.6 to 0.9 volts. All the following could be the cause of the problem except. So you got to be careful. There are some questions where they use the word except. So that means there are 3 possible questions that are not correct, but there's one that would be the possible cause in this case. Or in this question, what would not be the cause? So let's say A would be an inoperative map sensor, B would be an operative heated O2 sensor, C would be an inoperative coolant temperature sensor, and D would be a partially restricted fuel line. So we'll choose the answer that we feel is best. I'll mark it on my answer sheet. Then we'll look in the back of the section and then see what the answer is and why that answer is that way. So if we look at the end of the section for L1, it looks like the answer is B. So in this question, you're asked to select the response that's not the cause of the problem. A is incorrect because an operative map sensor could cause a rich air-fuel ratio and a high CO and HC emissions. B is correct because the high O2 sensor voltage is a result of a rich air-fuel ratio caused by some other problem. Thus, the high heated O2 sensor voltage is not the cause of the problem. C is incorrect because an inoperative coolant temp sensor could cause a rich air-fuel ratio and high CO and HC emissions. D is incorrect because a partially restricted fuel return line could cause a rich air-fuel ratio and high CO and HC emissions. So again, what we're looking for in this particular question is what would not be the cause of the problem. So some questions are that way, some are you're looking for the cause of the problem. But this gives you the practice. Believe me, when you go through 125 of these questions in your preparation, you will be ready to take the ASE test and pass it. For me, I find it takes me about 2 hours to prepare for each ASE test that I'm going to take. So if I'm going to take 3 tests at one test session, I'll have to spend about 6 hours reviewing. But for me, it works. And again, I like the Delmar books, but there are many books that are available out there. The most important thing is I think you get a book that has lots and lots of review questions. Once you've gone through that many questions, again, it gets your mind working in a way that you are now prepared to take the test and to pass it. And for me, I've done it a long time. It works. Preparation is the key. I hope this helps. Thanks for watching.